Blessings and welcome to today's Sunday service short message from the heart of mighty I Am Presence. Today's topic is you are not your thoughts, your feelings, nor your emotions. Thank you for tuning in. This is probably one of the most important conversations that I'm going to have with you today that will help you understand something that some of you may have not understood before. Before going into it, I'd like to thank those of you who are returning to my channel. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this message to other people, and thank you for leaving your comments. For those who are new to my channel, welcome. My channel is all about embodiment, that divine presence within, so you can live that divine purpose. Thank you so much. So let's get into this. So many of us, including me, have been what I would say victim to the thoughts, the emotions, and the feelings. Let's face it, we've never had an actual manual how to handle these feelings, the emotions, and the thoughts that produce these. So we've experienced all range of emotions, all range of feelings, all range of thoughts. These are the natural experiences being in a human form. Yet, these emotions or thoughts or the feelings are part of the human experience. They are not the indicator of who you are. Who you are is a spark of light from the Creator, God presence, created in its own image, in its own like, in its own light, in its own love, in form. So you are actually the living observer from within that gets to be a witness to the feeling that your human experience is experiencing through the emotions that are produced from the thought that has produced the emotion. And then here is your mind that directs it where to go. Now, all these components come into your play from childhood. So from your childhood, you experience life experiences. So therefore, you produce certain thoughts, and then there's the emotions, and then there's the feelings inside of you. Say, for example, if you were a child, right? So you had this thought to touch the oven, but you didn't know the flame was on the fire, so you got burned. Then the feeling of that, you got scared, you got hurt, and all kinds of things took place in your body. And hopefully you learned from it. So it's an indicator which direction to go. Now, if that experience was coupled with you being, for example, punished or being severely hurt, then that memory kicks in, and that signals a different kind of signal inside of you. But it's not your truth of who you are. They're just the emotions that are stored in your body through the feelings that were produced. If it wasn't resolved, it's going to continue to produce certain feeling to help you unwind that memory that's been stored in your body so that you can heal from it. Now, when it comes to mighty God presence is continuously flowing to you, through you, all around you. It's loving presence. And when we in our human form are backed up by a lot of these feelings, emotions, and thoughts that are denser, we're unable to experience God Almighty presence inside of us, because they interestingly are tied to these elevated thoughts, elevated emotions, elevated feelings. When you are connected to those elevated thoughts, emotions, or feeling, you're able to experience that inside of you greater. Your lens is broader. you're able to experience greater works of life. However, when it is denser in the vibration from the feelings and the emotions and the thought, there's a retraction. So from that retraction, there's a squeezing. And what happens, there is a cut off from that experience, that direct flow, current, ocean, river, spring that is continuously flowing. There is a cut off in that, or it seems like a cut off. It's not actually cut off because it's continuous, yet you're unable to experience it on the inside, because you can't even experience being the observer experiencing it within your human body. What happens often, you drop into the human body so you can experience the blessings. Point being here today, I'm here to remind you, you are not your feelings, you're not your emotions, you're not your thought. You're the observer of them. As you begin to lean back on mighty God presence, you can observe them better. And you can observe whether they're heavier or they're lighter. If they're heavier, this is an indication, here's where you can pour more of God Almighty's love into them, and you can allow them to be uplifted, but not for you to go into them and drown into them. This is very important to recognize the difference. Your emotions, your thoughts, and your feelings are part of your human experience to direct your life so that you can bring about God's presence and your purpose into your life. If you are caught up in them and you've gone into them and you've identified yourself with the feelings, with the emotions, with the thought, then your mind is the driving force behind them. You're not able to live the true purpose of your God presence within, because you're allowing the human experience dictate that versus the truth of who you are. The truth is one truth, and that truth is an absolute truth, which is the presence of God Almighty is pure love. And that pure love has the full presence of everything in it. And that is the experience within. From the observer, when you allow it, you get to experience a different reality. And I trust this message today brings a breakthrough for you, that you need it, that there's never anything wrong with you. You were just never taught how to operate this beautiful, magnificent machinery, such as me. You get to learn later, and you get to allow yourself to operate the mind, the thoughts, the emotions, and the feelings, so that they are aligned with God presence, and you can allow the God presence to flow through. So you're in oneness, you're in unity within, and you're in harmony towards the direction and purpose that God Almighty has placed for you in this life, where your human gets to bring it into pass. Thank you so much for joining me today. And for those of you that want to go so deeper in embodiment and alignment, please join me on my ministry, Essential Alchemy Ministry. The information is there. We go much deeper in this place and walk in that presence. Have a beautiful, blessed day.